A roller coaster of ups and downs, ins and outs, pain and pleasure, confusion and clarity. Our body is our greatest asset, the temple to our soul, and the gateway to a life of health beyond our wildest dreams. Maximum results with minimum input is what we seek, and here to enlighten us is the brilliant and incredibly insightful Brenda Eastwood.
I hope this won't gross you out, but I'm here to talk about a very shitty topic. But first, I'd like to invite you to join me in my elite international club called the Stool Watching Club. The club mantra is that every person should have 2 to 3 bowel movements per day, one for each meal. Now, each bowel movement doesn't need to follow each meal, but you do need to eliminate 2 to 3 times a day. It could be all in the morning or all in the evening, or you could be an afternoon pooper. That's okay too. The stool pieces, if you were to place them all end to end, would reach from the bend in your wrist to the bend in your elbow. Place your pointer finger and put it at the bend in your thumb. It'd be that diameter. No stress, no straining, light to medium brown in color. Soft but formed, free of undigested food other than peas and corn. Fairly non-odorous and mostly floating. Now repeat after me. No, just kidding. Now, some of you that I can see are looking at me in amazement. Really? A body can push out that amount of stuff in a day? Yes, it can. Think about it this way. If you send 3 trains into a tunnel, how many trains should come out the other end? We send 3 meals into our intestinal tunnel, and we're lucky if a little caboose comes out the other end. So, now, what happens if the stool doesn't make it out, or if it is slow in getting out? It's called slow transit time, meaning the amount of time you eat the food before it exits your body. What happens? Well, that stool stays and rots and decays in your intestinal tract and produces the most toxic chemicals known to mankind. Now, you know this is true if you think about it, okay? Because if you get a perforated bowel in surgery or from ulcerative colitis, you get something called sepsis, which is a severe infection that can lead quickly to organ failure and death. So is it really a hard stretch to your imagination to think about all that rotting fecal material, all those poisons being constantly absorbed through the intestinal tract into your bloodstream, going everywhere your blood goes, which is everywhere in your body? So wouldn't it be likely that some of that toxins would be causing headaches, fatigue, might cause general loss of vitality, general aches and pains. Maybe it might lead to some of those skin disorders like rashes, acne, boils, eczema, psoriasis. In fact, just to prove a point, the most powerful story I have is way back in the day when I was in private practice. There was a gentleman who came to see me to clear his psoriasis. On his first appointment, he rolled up the sleeve of his shirt. Well, I looked, and I've really never seen such an ugly skin condition. I thought maybe he had leprosy. Not that I knew what leprosy looked like, but I thought it could look like that. And as he was talking to me, little bits of his body were falling off all around, and after he left, I had to vacuum them all up. So at the end of the consultation, I determined that the reason for his psoriasis was he was full of shit. No, seriously, he was. He had skinny arms and skinny legs and this big Santa belly. Well, it wasn't all poop. It was some poop, though, because when I coached him through a colon cleanse using herbs and fiber, he was able to move his belt notch over a couple of notches, right? Well, when he came for his follow-up and he started to, I was going, oh, please don't do that. When he started to roll up his sleeve, I really could never have believed it, but hadn't seen it with my own eyes. His skin looked absolutely normal. Now let me share a couple of my own personal examples of how this toxicity affects you. One of this is very embarrassing. When you're not eliminating, there's toxins and they have to leave somehow. No, it wasn't farting, but I did that too. But I had very, very stinky feet. Stinkiest feet ever, and I tried everything. Like, I washed them twice a day, I tried cotton socks, I tried foot powder, special insoles, and nothing was working. I tell you, I lived in fear that I'd be invited to a Japanese restaurant and I'd have to take my shoes off. Now that would be a quick end to a first date, don't you think? Exactly. So I also had, when I'd ovulate, I'd get a pain at ovulation because all that fecal material was pressing on my ovary. So every other month I was getting that pain. I also had a lot of buildup and it was putting pressure on my lower back. So I'd get lower back pain that wasn't associated to anything and it wouldn't be relieved by anything, even massage. And I also had wicked PMS. And if you want to know how that's associated to all that, you'll have to come and hear my talk tomorrow. Okay, we'll leave you hanging on that one. So anyways, when I figured out that improper bowel movements were associated to a lot of my personal health conditions, then I did my own colon cleanse. Now, I'm sure you don't want me to go into the nitty-gritty details of what I eliminated, but I will tell you this. I passed the pink Barbie shoe that I swallowed when I was 5. Yeah, not really, but I thought it was good, So, you hear me, and I do laugh and joke around about this topic, right? But I try to take this undiscussable and make it discussable. Because is it something that you sit around and talk about at your dinner table? No, probably not. But maybe we should. Maybe we should. Because maybe if we talked about it more and paid more attention to it, we'd stop some of the suffering of the people with diverticulitis, colitis, Crohn's, and maybe, just maybe, we might do something about the 25,000 Canadians that were diagnosed last year with colon cancer. And of those 25,000, 9,300 died. Now, colon cancer just doesn't get the attention that breast cancer does, but it's more common, and it's just as deadly. And even if you survive and you just have the surgery, then that can compromise the quality of your life. So what should we do about this? Don't you think it would be better to just make a few simple lifestyle changes that could make us feel healthier and potentially limit and reduce our risk of colon cancer? Doesn't that make sense? Yeah. So number one is one thing you all have mastered, and that's exercise, right? Because you can't take your colon, I'm not used to these little high heels. They're not little, really, that you can't take your colon out of your abdomen and put it on the floor and say, do your sit-ups. No, you have to move your body in order to get the colon functioning. So that's number one. Number two, drink your water. I know you know this, but sometimes we just don't do it, right? And if you don't have enough water, then your body will siphon out water out of your intestines, and then that makes your stool all gluey and sticky. Ooh. So then it's very hard to pass when it's like that, right? So number three is that you want to increase your fiber, and you want to get that through your vegetables, not your fruit. Not your fruit. your vegetables, 2 cups minimum every day. And that does not include what you eat for lettuce, potato, peas, corn, and mushrooms. You can still eat those. They just don't count. There goes everybody's quota down. You have to get the other things. So then, number 4, if you were here earlier, you heard me talk about magnesium. It's very difficult sometimes to get your stool regulated, get things working again. Well, if you're short on magnesium, it's going to be really difficult because calcium contracts, magnesium releases, and that's the motion of the peristaltic motion of the intestine. So you want your magnesium. And number 5 is you want to get probiotics or friendly bacteria into your gut. I don't drink the fancy drinks that have this fermented stuff in it, so I take just a good high quality probiotic every year and take it regularly, because when you get the good bacteria into your guts, it makes a very lubricated stool. And when the stool is lubricated, slides out really easy. All right. So the other thing you want to know is, what is your transit time, right? How long is it taking for the food that you eat to enter and exit, right? It should be 18 to 24 hours. So what I want you to do is not eat corn for about a week, all right? And then one day, eat some corn. And then watch to see how long, and see if it ever comes out. Because if it does come out, you will see it, because it never completely digests, and it looks like a Henry bar, right? Are you ever going to eat O. Henry bar again? So the amount of time that you should see that corn coming out is 18 to 24 hours, okay? So if you're eliminating as much as I've described, and it's in 18 to 24 hours, you're really good to go. But if you're not, then you want to incorporate some of those 5, work through them, get them all into your life. And the 6th thing that I would like to offer as a suggestion is to talk to your nutritionist or myself or my partner Megan and talk about a colon cleanse so that you can get those old trains out of your tunnel. So what I encourage all of you to do is to go out into the world and recruit more members to the Stool Watching Club. And if we do that, the more people that are members, the more people that will be healthier, and the more lives we will save. Yes?